Today is Wednesday, April 6, 2016, and you're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show. The Elevator Radio Show is a proud supporter of the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation. To find out how you can make a difference, visit their website today, www.eesf.org. Hey, everybody, it's good to be here this Wednesday morning, so stay tuned. Here the show comes.
You're tuned in to the Elevator Radio Show, a weekly program dedicated to covering news and information on elevators, escalators, and moving walkways. Produced in the wee hours of the morning, a new show is uploaded every Wednesday, sometimes even before you get out of bed. Listen to some of the comments sent in from our audience.
Rob from New York writes, Tom, are you f***ing insane? You actually get up at 2 a.m. each Wednesday to put this show out? Man, you must love elevators. Tim from Illinois writes, I'm not sure why I listened, but ever since I tuned into the first show back in 2007, I've been addicted. Matt in Texas writes, I like your safety messages, Tom. It's important to remember them each and every day. And he also adds,
when am I going to win the monthly prize pack giveaway?
Ron from California sent this in. Despite your inability to pronounce words in the English language, I tune in each week and am glad that you offer this service to the industry. It's better than Google News alerts. Sarah from Washington writes, love the show, Tom, and look forward to it each week. I'm glad I signed up for the newsletter. You provide a valuable resource for the industry, not only for North America, but worldwide.
Enjoy the show. And now, here's your sleep-deprived host, Tom Seibert.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Yes, it is good to be here this Wednesday morning where it's hard to believe it's another week of the Elevator Radio Show. Yeah, right? Seems like only just last week we were doing the show. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing good out there. My name is Tom Seibert. I'm the host, the producer, the guy that pulls all the content online for the Elevator Radio Show. This is show number 424, week April 6, 2016. And today we are going to honor a great man who, if you have been in the industry since the 1980s, 1970s, 1960s, maybe even the 1950s, you may have met this gentleman. Richard Daniel passed away last Thursday, who was not only a coworker of mine, but a good friend, somebody who I had great admiration for, somebody who I learned a great deal, and somebody who dedicated 66 years of his life to a company that was grateful to have him. Richard Daniel went into the hospital probably, I want to say 3-4 weeks ago. Doctors discovered that he had an advanced cancer that had pretty much overcome his body. He stopped eating. Unfortunately, he stopped drinking, and I think Wednesday or Thursday night of last week passed away. It's one of those things where we're all getting older, but it doesn't hit you until somebody close to you passes away, obviously, and puts things in perspective in terms of those people who have made a difference on our lives. And Richard was one of those guys, and he will be sorely missed. So it's been kind of a tough week, last week and this week, for our company, and we'll get through it. But in the last 10 years, we've lost 2 members of our team who've been older, and another one that used to be part of our team. So it's one of those deals where you don't think about people in your life passing or moving on or going to the greater side of what we all believe is on the other side. And it's tough. It's definitely tough, and it definitely leaves an emptiness in your heart, in your mind, in your life. I think the hardest part was seeing somebody that you care about or love in pain and in suffering. And I truly wish there was a better way that a life could be ended so that it's not so difficult. And while you may be on the fence on humane end-of-life care, in Richard's case, I wish it went a little quicker for him. Which is just tough. Before Richard passed, he was in the hospital, and our company, put together a nice little book. I wish I could put the PDF version online through the elevator radio show, but unfortunately, it's too big. So you have to go through the link that's in the show notes to actually download it. Unfortunately, you've got to register to see it, so I apologize for that. It wasn't my intention to have people register and have to download a PDF book through our website, but it's the only way I can get that file up there. And literally, I spent a good full day scanning original mechanical engineering drawings and putting them into this book. Also some photographs, and presented it to him along with another copy to his family before he passed. And I was his family enjoyed seeing it. He did. On Easter, he was able to share the book with his family and really show them what he did and contributed. I don't know too many people who have served or have worked at any company for over 66 years. I've been doing this for 25, and I think that's a long time. And like I said, I met Richard when I first started working in the shop. He was in our engraving department back in the day, and just had some great stories and awesome in teaching me a lot about the job, about the products, and just a real good guy. So again, if you ever went to a trade show, the NEC trade show or convention in the late 1950s, well, probably 1960s, 1970s, definitely 1980s, you probably met Richard. And if you did, he would remember you. And he was a gentleman who had no mean bone in his body. Didn't gossip, didn't talk political crap about anybody, and I admired that about him. And so, in honor of him, we created a book, and it's the least that we could have done. His family was wonderful, and we will not forget Richard at all. Okay, so that's basically where I've been at in the last week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And as we move on and we heal, we do our best to do that on all levels. So if anybody is going through this, and as I was reading the Elevator World press releases and daily updates, some of which I did link today, or some of which I didn't get a chance to, there were quite a few people that passed away in the last week, in the last 2 weeks, and for all of those people that our industry has lost, please think of them. Think of the people who have come before us to blaze the trails that we are continuing, and let us never forget those that have come before us. So, and I wish time were a great healer. It does help, but at the end of the day, it's not going to heal all wounds, as many note the expression says. So, surround yourself with family. Realize those you work with are your second family, and make sure that everybody is safe and goes home each and every day. But yeah, just not a good thing. Got a good show for you today. We do have some interesting articles that I've not yet seen in a while. One involving an escalator and video. Some others involving the other big one stems around the New York City Housing Authority report that was released. I encourage you to read that, go through that, make sure that anything that you might have going on on your projects does not contain the same type of issues. It's unfortunate when we get in the report, which we will in a little bit. So anyway, we'll get into the news and have you out of here in no time. So up next is the news.
Let this week's news stories give you a lift on what's happening in the vertical transportation arena. Each news segment is organically dug and fresh with news stories of the week. Got lift? If not, stay tuned.
Speaking of safety, I just want to make a quick public service announcement. Mechanics out there, you've got to slow down. Please slow down. I got a call yesterday, and it had actually been going on for the last 2 days, from a technician that was out on the job, and obviously he was under a lot of stress, and I regret that he was under that kind of stress. But he had asked a question and pretty much spent it took a day to get it resolved regarding a product, when all he had to do was look at the instruction sheet, or open the cover for this device, and recognized that all he needed to do was remove wires so that he could separate the commons, but he didn't do that. So literally it involved 6 hours of trying to help somebody who was under so much pressure and stress because he had an inspection coming up. And when he told me that, he's like, I got an inspection tomorrow. And he told me the device he's installing. And I'm thinking to myself, you have an inspection tomorrow and you have not even put this widget in? And then it was somewhat frantic in terms of me thinking to myself, holy cow, and this happens all the time, I'm sure. I mean, it's happened more than once in terms of people that I've talked to on the phone providing support. But when it gets right down to it, you're like, this is a real simple thing here. And when, it's not being looked at or enough time, that's when you make mistakes. So take a breath and do your best to get stuff done in time. But if you're not going to make it, don't sacrifice anything that you're doing in the field for safety. Really don't, okay? Because it was like I was all ready to leave at like 4:30, trying to get to my son's volleyball game. Got this phone call, took an hour to try to get it resolved. Stopped at the UPS store, and it was like, man, this all could have been resolved probably had had somebody taken the time to actually review the documentation, but it just didn't happen. So, yeah, just slow down out there. Slow down. And don't schedule an inspection unless you have everything ready to go. I know it's not always possible, but man, this shouldn't be that difficult. So, and that's when mistakes are made. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the Richard Daniel honoring 66 years of service at C.J. Anderson Company. The download link is over in the show notes. I encourage everybody, if you want to check it out, see some of the cool drawings that he created. They're all been condensed down, but it's a hard copy book. If anybody's interested in getting a copy of the book itself, it is for sale, but it's very expensive because it's a print-on-demand type deal. But it is available for anybody who would be interested. Just contact me or send a link through the website here. And again, I apologize that you have to register to actually download it, but that's the only way I can get it set up, unfortunately. So enjoy that if you are interested in checking it out. And again, it's not intended to be some kind of sales booklet, but it is a cool. It provides a cool insight on the mechanical engineering aspect and some of the drawings that were created back in Richard's earlier career. Okay, news from Japan. Hartford Courant reporting Otis Elevator has purchased or is going to purchase, let me close this, Schindler Elevator in Japan after a business accident. Interesting to see that Schindler's getting out of the market in Japan. It's something you don't see every day, so but definitely kind of an interesting article. I thought actually I've never seen something like this happen. So yeah, and I do you think there will ever be a day when, I don't know, do you think that escalators will at some point not be used anymore? I don't think that'll be the case ever, but I just wonder whether or not that'll ever happen. Will we look 100 years from now and look at escalators going, man, can't believe we used those back in the day. You know what I mean? And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you watch the next video...
We're done.
We're done. Okay, I just shut the volume off. Hopefully it doesn't shut my volume off. But Inside Edition has a video of a runaway escalator, I guess I should call it, which I'm going to play as soon as it links in. Here we go. It's not going to let me.
Spectators go tumbling off a malfunctioning escalator. The chaos erupted at a Philadelphia Flyers hockey game. Video shows fans piling one into another at the bottom of the escalator, which for some reason had sped up without warning. 23-year-old Megan McGreevy caught the mishap on her cell phone.
We happened to pass by this escalator that was carrying a bunch of people, and all of a sudden we heard it rev up, kind of like it was going faster and faster. A lot of people were jumping over the edges of the escalator, and there was people just piling on each other at the end. So it was pretty crazy.
Accidents like these happen more often than you'd think. 11,600 escalator injuries were reported last year alone. In 2011, at a Washington, D.C. metro station, this escalator suddenly sped up, sending passengers tumbling down. Overseas, this escalator reversed for no reason, sending passengers flying backwards. This woman from China lost her life when a metal panel collapsed under her, pulling her into the gears. Other injuries are due to riders losing their balance and falling. Shoes can get caught inside the escalator. Also, watch out for shoelaces.
I can't believe they're showing half these videos.
Patrick Carr is an escalator safety expert.
How safe are escalators?
Not as safe as elevators. Elevators are a lot safer. We're talking about a lot of big equipment moving at high speed with a tremendous amount of thrust. It's been estimated that the thrust of escalators can be as much as a jet plane taking off.
While there's not much you can do if you're on an out-of-control escalator, if you happen to witness one, there is something you can do to help. Press the emergency stop button, which is located at the bottom and the top of each escalator. Information that could have been useful over the weekend for these hockey fans.
I hate these kind of things. Hey, how about citing or point people to the Elevator Escalator Safety Foundation website? How about that? Of the 11,000 whatever injuries that were cited by the Consumer Product Safety Commission or whoever whatever it was cited, whatever. I would have to say that most of those are rider behavior error in the terms of the video that shows at this hockey arena. I would not say that that's a typical common occurrence when it comes to how escalators injure or how people get injured when riding escalators. So visit eesf.org and check that out. I'm not sure how Pat's last name got butchered there. So when you start looking at that, it's like, when you're going to do an investigative report like this, God, it just makes me work. I hate them. I really do, because there's so much that's either misreported or, it shouldn't be this difficult, but unfortunately it is. So anyway, it's not a good situation, obviously. Whether or not the stop button would have done anything whatsoever is a whole other story. But you know what? Provide a little more information on how to safely ride an escalator. How about that? Instead of creating mass panic and hysteria, and if it leads kind of crap when covering articles like this. Okay, apparently a legislator and 19 others were stalled in an elevator for over an hour. And again, remember, if you are ever stalled in an elevator, it will run again. Just make sure that you stay in it so that you do not get hurt or injured trying to get out. Wait for help. And what happened on Monday was 19 others piled into an elevator at the legislative office building in Hartford. The capacity of the elevators is a maximum of 3,500 pounds, but the 16 adults and 4 children went over that amount. Yeah, I bet they did. So, yeah, elevator did what it was supposed to do, and that's a good thing. So anybody having a problem with that, look at yourself and don't get onto an overloaded elevator. Just take your time, take the stairs or whatever. Okay, in the Badger Herald is reporting firefighters free intoxicated hub residents from locked elevator. I don't know why they call it locked elevator. Again, remember, the safest place for you to be when an elevator is not working or stalled is inside. You never try to get out. And, I have a feeling that probably the intoxicated partygoers had something to do with why the elevator stopped working. I would have to say, my intuition says that it did. Next article. Here is the article that is. I encourage you to download, print out the report. It's in the second. It's right after this article link. New York City Housing Authority faulted for significant flaws in elevator safety. This is not something that is going to shine very well for the New York City Housing Authority, which the report really notes that this is not a money issue. This is not a lack of funds issue. This is a policy and procedure issue, and it's really kind of scary. I'm surprised at the detail that the actual article that the report has in it. It's very detailed. So if you want to learn some stuff about what not to do or what to ensure that you don't do, or read it, okay? It's a PDF document. I don't know how long it's going to be up for, so download it. This is coming from the City of New York Department of Investigation, Mark J. Peters, Commissioner, and it was actually released on Tuesday, March 29th. So Department of Investigation reveals communication failures and broken safety device in fatal 2015 New York City Housing Authority elevator accident. So investigation also exposes broader systematic safety problems. Yeah, so that should not be happening, obviously. And if it's happening on that level, it's probably happening in different areas as well. So read the report. It's worthwhile reading. It really is. Save it. Share it with those you work with so that you can prevent something like that from happening on the elevators that you are actually checking out, okay? And make sure you're doing what you can to ensure that it doesn't happen, especially with communication between mechanics, contractors, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, Elevator World Incorporated has some their online extras for 2016 April. Which is kind of cool. They got extra photos from the month's feature of arched escalators at the LB Philharmonic Hall, and then also what I thought was pretty cool is they've got a gallery of training in progress at NEEP, at the NEEP classrooms. So that's pretty cool. So check that out. Link is in the show notes. And if you are not already a subscriber to Elevator World Magazine, I encourage you to get subscribed, either digitally or via the paper version, which is my preferable choice. Next news article, NYCHA International is coming to Chicago, and we talked about this last week. Welcome to everybody who is coming to our great city. Unfortunately, you are going to experience some cold weather on Saturday. Friday might be okay, but I think Saturday we're supposed to get some rain and snow and just miserable crap. So, yeah, I'm sorry about that, but try to enjoy it. You'll probably be inside more often than not. Everybody have a great time, learn a lot, and it'll be good to enjoy our wonderful our city if you can get downtown from where your meeting is going to be held. Chicago Elevator Association meeting is tomorrow. Actually, I have it scheduled next week. I saved it from last week. So make sure you get over there. If you need 1.0 continuing education units or QEI credits, well, that's the same thing, CET, WordTech is going to be presenting on, I think it's ropes. So for an hour, you'll get to listen to that and also find out a little bit more. Remember, May is the fundraiser for the scholarship. The registration sponsorship form is over online. Encourage you to get that checked out. Elevator World has I didn't know if you knew this or not, but Elevator World Unplugged posted something regarding their research services. If you are looking for research services, Elevator World's archives is quite extensive. It goes back to 1953. And they can provide a whole bunch of information, more than you might even think, regarding legal issues, technology, specific issues, focused on topics, market trends. So really, if you are interested, it may not be free, but I encourage you, if you're looking for information, to definitely to check it out. So they also have their editorial calendars going back from 2016. But if you're like me and have a bunch of old Elevator World magazines in your archives, I'm sure that there's a way that they can digitally go back and track stuff down. But I thought it was a pretty cool service Elevator World is offering, so check that out. Next article, drunk man injured in Australia. This guy he is so lucky he was not killed. Drunk man suffered severe pelvic injuries after he crawled into elevator shaft at a Brisbane nightclub, believing it was a toilet. Okay, again, I just can't. If people like this are supposed to, are not smart enough to, be on the planet, maybe perhaps something should happen. I don't wish anything on any bad thing on anybody, but come on, how do you mistake a elevator as a toilet? Unless the doors are not, locking. This is in Australia, so who knows? I think this is in Australia. I could be wrong. Hold on, let me see. I assumed it was Brisbane, Australia. Let me see. Brisbane. I thought it was Australia. If that's the case, yeah, no, it's UK. I apologize. UK. I will have to change that in the show notes because I noted it as Australia. Yeah, he's expected to recover, but if he was in the United States, he'd sue somebody. Well, honestly, if the door's not locked, he should sue somebody, or somebody should fix that. Okay, second time in 1 week that the Washington Monument was closed due to elevator issues. This time it was cited upon a power outage or a power fluctuation. Is that the right word? I don't even know. Anyway, but again, yeah, it seems like Washington Monument is in the news more often than not. Again, the safety devices and circuits and whatnot for an elevator in today's world, much different than it was back in the good old days. Still is good, probably, well, it's better actually, but a little more temperamental, a little more sensitive. It's kind of like your car, lots of sensors that go bad or whatever, and then compared to a car that's doesn't have any sensors or computers or whatnot, which I kind of like that, Okay, firefighter doing well after fall down an elevator shaft. This happened in Chicago. Let's see here, Jaws of Life. Get your own. Okay, apparently. There's a fire in a building at a downtown. Oh no, yeah, sorry. Chicago firefighter is doing well after Saturday, after falling down an elevator shaft from the second floor of an apartment building in Austin while fighting fire that had left a man dead on Friday. Wait, Friday? Yeah. Apparently, the elevator had been tagged by the city. I'm not sure what happened with that, but yeah, you gotta be careful out there. And just another reason to make sure elevators are working the way that they're supposed to work, right? Right. Okay, escalator safety all the way. I do not remember what this one was about. Okay, yeah. I just want to link this for one reason, and this was coming from the Inquisitor.com news source. And this is another article regarding a little girl. No, Eds.
What if a cop...
Okay, I'm gonna get off this page because it's not gonna look at the image on this photo. It's got a chain going across the escalator, and to prevent people from going up. I mean, I realize it's in another country, but you think they'd put something up or do something else other than just simplifyly, put a yellow plastic or chain up to prevent people from using it. I don't know, just drive me crazy. You gotta appreciate the codes that we have here in America, the United States, North America, Canada, because they really address issues and do their part to prevent accidents from happening. And last news article is a great article coming from Lee County Courier, which they highlight, or they actually share the life of J.T. Hale and the fact that he was a elevator mechanic. I think that's awesome. Isn't that awesome? He's 88 years old, and he spent his working days servicing and installing elevators in buildings at least 2 stories tall. What? As opposed to an elevator in a 1-story building? Okay, all right. Well, anyway, but it's great. It's a nice account of Mr. Hale's life. And pretty much some fun stories that he had to share. So, make sure you share the stories that you have with your loved ones, with those that you work with, so that those memories don't get forgotten. Encourage that, and make sure you're taking time for yourself and for your family if you can. Make that a priority, because life is short. Actually, it's not short. It's the longest thing we're ever going to do while we're walking on this earth. And just put that into, and it could all end tomorrow. It's not supposed to be a sad thought. It's supposed to be a happy thought. But just try to put things in perspective, because we all get so darn busy each and every day that sometimes we lose sight of really what's important in our lives. So encourage you to do that. And that's going to do it for the show, everybody. I want to thank you for joining us today. If you're tuning into the show or the program over on Blueberry or on iTunes or on YouTube or through elevatorradioshow.com, however you're consuming the show, I greatly appreciate it. So I hope you have a great rest of the week, a safe week, a nice weekend. Think spring, be safe, and we will be back next Wednesday. Bye-bye.